Hello, Brandon Diaz here, real estate investor, crypto enthusiast, and today we come with a video. This is going to be a reaction video to regulation in the decentralized markets. It's interesting. I've got the former DOJ chief, I should say, and he's being asked a bunch of questions. And I've seen in the Discord that there are some misconceptions about regulations when it comes down to the crypto market. And so let's just do a reaction video and let's hear what he has to say. And by the way, I'll be linking the original video in the description.
The Department of Justice is expected to release a report tomorrow detailing possible actions by the U.S. concerning criminal use of cryptocurrency. This comes amid increasing warnings about a crypto winter that's coming. Joining us.
I like how they're talking about a upcoming crypto winter, and we're actually in the crypto winter currently right now.
To discuss regulation and the current state of the crypto market.
First off, this guy has the same ears I have. All right, you're going to see one that sticks out a little further than the other one. I actually think that this guy should be a Sneaky Vampire Syndicate member. If you see it, it's perfect. That's why I'm a Sneaky Vampire Syndicate, because it just kind of matches, the ear aspects. They got them sticking out exactly the same. So,
Is Morrison Foerster partner Brian Kidd, along with our very own David Hollerith. Brian, it's good to talk to you today. This comes at a time when we've seen hacks at crypto exchanges, we've seen stolen or plagiarized tokens as well. Certainly a lot of cracks in the system. And I wonder what you think this says about how regulators should be approaching this issue.
Thank you very much for having me. There's obviously a lot going on in the market right now, and I think you're seeing the way that regulation has played out over time is we're really seeing a decentralized regulation of the crypto market. So when you've got the different regulators fighting for their piece of the crypto pie, and you've got DOJ is very active in the space, SEC very active in the space, and the CFTC very active in the space. And you've seen some rumblings from Congress as well, and some proposed stablecoin legislation that's currently in the pipeline. So there is a lot of focus in this space, but it's not kind of moving in the same direction at this time. And I think that's where you're seeing the cracks, and you can see things slip through without that focused regulation.
So if right now currently, so yesterday, Yucca Labs had a breach in their Discord channel, and there was actually some individuals that lost their Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, which was really expensive. So a lot of the conversation currently right now is talking about regulation and holding people accountable and so forth. But he's talking about that people are, you do have the government that is involved. They haven't connected with the conversation together on moving forward, but they are looking to move forward with the regulation aspect, is what he was just saying, which has been happening. But I think regulation is actually going to be a good thing. If we could have regulation, that would give more legitimacy to the crypto market.
Hey, Brian. Yeah, it seems...
This guy just woke out of bed, by the way.
It seems to me that given all these different pieces of regulation, the DOJ has been fairly successful at moving forward with sort of their own sort of enforcement actions. And I was sort of curious how much you think adding more clarity would help them accomplish their job. I mean, as far back as, I think February of this year, it's been pretty clear that they're moving forward. They have a task force that's specifically geared towards cryptocurrency, and they're clearly, rolling out indictments as we speak. So sort of curious how you think they fit into maybe clarity of regulation altogether.
I think having clear regulation generally is good for everybody. Here, obviously, the Department of Justice has taken a very active role. They, in February, I think, as you referenced, they appointed the first director of their national cryptocurrency enforcement team, which I think is a key part of the Department of Justice's focus at this point. And while I think, additional regulation,
key part to their focus currently right now,
or clearer regulations would be beneficial, it's not going to stop the Department of Justice from, continue to investigate and prosecute individuals and companies that they perceive to be, bad actors or committing fraud in the market. And I think you've seen that with the enforcement team, but also there's now a dedicated FBI team, the Virtual Asset Exploitation Unit, the department's continuing to put resources into this space, and I would expect that that will continue to expand as cryptocurrency continues to play a bigger role in our economy.
You got a lot of people, again, when I'm on the Discord channels, I'll hear people talking about there's basically no regulations. And there may be some truth to there's no regulations towards the crypto market, but it doesn't mean that, you have your government agencies that aren't enforcing the laws that are already in the books. Like an example would be theft. If somebody steals from another individual and they deceive another individual, that is illegal in the sense of the law. It doesn't matter if it's in the crypto, realm of things. If someone has been deceived and lied to, there's criminal court charges and civil charges that can be placed on that person. So, like a lot of people are, when it comes to these influencers, they're talking about, forcing out indictments. Now, I don't know if they were talking necessarily about influencers in that direction. However, influencers need to be careful, because if you're pushing out a cryptocurrency and that cryptocurrency ends up hurting a lot of people, you could be held liable. Right now, a lot of influencers are kind of getting away with that, but we are seeing some push where the government is actually pushing to, do some kind of indictment or punish some of these individuals that are part of this. So keep that in mind as you guys grow your channels, and be careful on what you guys are pushing as a good product out there.
Brian, it's Brian Chung here. Now, I just want to highlight that you were formerly the chief of the Market Integrity and Major Frauds Unit of the DOJ. When you look at something like the DOJ's announcement last week about insider trading happening in the NFT space with a former employee at OpenSea, one of these big marketplaces for those
The guy at OpenSea, one of the big wigs over there, got charged for insider trading. That's a big charge. I mean, you got to understand, especially if you're going to be like a enforced leader in any kind of direction, whether it be OpenSea or an NFT project or a cryptocurrency, or again, you're the influencer of that. They're coming. They're talking about that. They're already doing it.
fungible tokens. What stuck out to you in terms of the DOJ's decision to characterize that as insider trading? Because that could have implications for perhaps the treatment of it as a security, right? So it's a very interesting type of dynamic.
I literally had somebody say, it's not a security. Well, I mean, they charging this individual as a security, so it's interesting. I mean, they can push. It's going to come down to the courts, and it'll, hopefully everyone gets good attorneys in this direction, but it'll be up to the courts to decide.
That we saw in that announcement last week.
It was indeed, and I think this is, in the NFT space, this is.
Check out the sales volume. Okay, you'll look at how large the sales volume is on OpenSea, and look where we're at it currently right now. We're really down at this point in time, but as you see, that we did have a lot of growth. Hopefully that comes back to us.
It's kind of one of the first big moves, and using insider trading, it's using a traditional securities enforcement law to go after the NFT marketplace, which it's interesting and it's unique. And we'll have to see how it plays out, because, obviously for insider trading, you're going to need that securities angle, which is why I think they've characterized it that way in the indictment.
So what the government's trying to do is trying to see how they can determine it in court first. And right there, then they'll have an angle and see how that looks. But they had to charge somebody first to see what that would look like. So as you see, that person is going to have to deal with the consequences of that. With that, what's perceived as insider trading. He's not been convicted at this point in time, but he has been charged. So be careful. People are trying to say, well, this is not securities. There is an aspect, and I do agree with that in a sense. However, it doesn't mean that the government agencies won't push that narrative that it's a security, and then you're going to have to force that. You're going to have to fight that in court with attorneys, lots of time, and also criminal charges against you. It's up to the courts to make that decision at that point, and then you can start getting laws on the books when it comes down to these NFTs. It'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, just to follow up on that too, if we're thinking about the OpenSea sort of indictment, I spoke with a lawyer about that, a former district attorney about it, and he had sort of brought up the fact that the DOJ is obviously quite busy And then in this scenario where cryptocurrency or crypto assets in general aren't necessarily securities, some of them are, it's a little bit unclear, but the DOJ was sort of able to come in with wire fraud, money laundering, and sort of skate around having to distinguish what a crypto asset is. But I'm curious, do you think adding that clarity will help sort of the agencies work together, or do you think it's sort of irrelevant to the DOJ's mission of enforcement right now?
If this guy can be a reporter, so can I. I could wake up and do exactly. Yeah, I think he just asked the same question twice, in my opinion, talking about clarity of regulation. So I guess he's just filling in some time, I guess.
I wouldn't say it's irrelevant, but the DOJ is going to continue to enforce its traditional laws, which is obviously wire fraud, money laundering, those types of statutes. They're going to continue to enforce those wherever they see that they fit. But I do think having clear regulations will allow, not that the SEC, DOJ, and CFTC do not work together well. I think they do, and you see that played out time and time again. But I think it will help them continue to move in parallel as they look at these markets and look at the crypto assets and NFTs and decide who and what conduct is running afoul of the established laws. And but by and large, I think DOJ is going to continue to do what they do, regardless of whether there are clearer guidelines put in place. I think they're going to continue to investigate and prosecute individuals that they believe run afoul of the current laws, which wire fraud, money laundering, those types of things.
A space to watch for sure. Brian Kidd, Morrison Forster, partner.
All right, that's it. No, and another thing is that I want to add to that is that regulation. A lot of people want to get into the cryptocurrency market because of lack of regulations or government oversight and everything else. However, just like we were talking about, FBI, this is all open ledger. They can research every transaction. They can see what wallet it went to. They can see where that wallet had transacted before that, and they're willing to do the investigative work to see who's behind that said wallet. By the way, so. And they're willing to go long ways. I mean, they can connect IP addresses. I mean, they've got some sophisticated technology out there. And even if you are trying to hide your IP address and everything else, using VPN numbers, you're still, the FBI, if they want to come and track you, you got to be very careful with that. In my opinion, I think regulation is a good thing. Not that I enjoy regulation. I'm in the real estate market, so we get regulations on everything. And then in some of that sense, you really don't want regulation. However, regulation does creates a legitimacy towards the crypto market. And if we want true adoption towards the cryptocurrency, there's got to be solutions when it comes down to the transaction fees, and obviously when it comes down to the transaction time, that slow transaction time. However, another piece that we also have to look at is regulation. If we want mass adoption. And we have to understand that there's people that are going to come on board if the government has basically said, yes, this is an investment, and these are the rules based upon that investment. But the government agencies already, they were talking about the SEC, the FBI, they already have laws in the books already that they can enforce based upon bad actors. So make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're following, your own guidelines. You want to make sure you're doing your own research. You make your own decisions, and don't invest money you don't have. By the way, especially when it comes to cryptocurrencies, because it does have this volatility towards it. If you're wanting to invest into a cryptocurrency, don't just do it because some influencer or somebody else had told you to do it. Do your own research. That they may have given you the idea to get involved in that said cryptocurrency, NFT, whatever. But it's up to you to do your own research, because right now a lot of bad actors are getting away with it, but indictments are coming and regulations are coming. So this is a reaction video to decentralized regulation. I am going to post the link into the description here. If you guys want to see more content just like this, I'm going to be talking about my journey. I'm really a real estate investor, really just kind of sharing my journey into the crypto. I'm a crypto enthusiast. And love sharing. It's a very engaged community, so that's what I want to do. I want to be able to chat with you guys and just share. So if you guys are interested in this type of content, make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you so much.